back to the legacy of the Olima League. We're going to be casting this game first, and I believe Spreezy versus Ryung next. A best of 3 into a best of 3 into a best of 5 to finish off this tournament. Spawning here, that way the top right part of me, corner of the map, he's got a weird acronym for a name, but it's actually Acer's MMA.
In the bottom left, as the Red Terran, it's Miso.
I'm still trying to get over that last game, by the way. I mean, I know we're over it. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it was the Banshees really that kind of, I mean, executed Impact, I want to say. Like, there's so much else that killed him, right? But it was like the Banshees that were the killing blow. I'm like, that parasitic bomb, though. Could have,
Yeah.
Either way, Miso did win the series, so definitely earned a spot here in the semifinals. MMA fought Dragon in a TVT and apparently wiped the floor with him. Nice 2-0 over there. So not quite sure what his plans are to fight against Miso, but we've seen what little I got to see of MMA on stream. It was him versus the Muslim. They both had tanks drop, and they both had Cyclones fighting each other. This matchup's kind of, it's still pretty ridiculous to watch.
Well, from what we've seen off of the stream, we cast, it's really just been normal TBT with maybe a couple of tank drops if they remember that they can do that. The Cyclone openers are strong, that is true. But otherwise, it really just goes back to normal TVT. Haven't seen the epicness of like the MMA versus like Aegis game that I saw on MMA stream. I don't know. I've never seen like MMA or streams in general. It's not just MMA stream. Have like so much like more fun games than the games that we cast. Just because just unlucky.
SV is gonna get out of there. Okay. It's interesting though. Like I think. My favorite thing about watching the beta tournaments, or even just folks streaming, is watching kind of the evolution of the matchups. We very quickly saw Terran, in the first 2 days of this, kind of fumble around and not really know what they're doing. Then we watched, like, I think it was Miso, yeah, it's actually Miso here, versus QXC. And QXC was floundering in that best of 3 until they finally bought the Cyclone as his opener. And then I think it was just suddenly revealed, like, this is a really strong way to just open up in the matchup. The Cyclone can catch the Banshee, it can kill so many Hellions on its own. I mean, there's a lot of different ways to play this, obviously. I'm just saying that it's cool to watch as folks figure out what's good and what's bad. Because it's been so long. Heart of the Swarm, we've had everything figured out for a year now.
Yeah, basically. Oh, they did change it, so everything's going to have to be figured out a little bit again. Swarm host, please.
Yeah. I'm really excited for folks like Snoot, amongst others. I can't wait to see how those get used. Even if we don't get to cast it, just the newness of it, the shiny factor.
We do have a Cyclone on the way for MMA. Third CC on the way for Miso. Oh, and MMA. All right, then. Very, kind of...
Ruthless.
Well, that's revenge.
Sure. Payback. Well, this is revenge is what this is. They are both opening with Cyclones. And Cyclones, it's like the Terran way. Cyclones are kind of like Reapers. Whoever gets the first shot off is pretty much guaranteed to win. And they're always awkward little fights. Not sure who disengages or who wants to actually take it. But the nice thing about this is auto attack and the AI for lock-on, it's actually pretty derpy. And let's say they meet in the middle of the map and it's one Reaper and a Cyclone versus another Cyclone. If that Cyclone from Miso targets the Reaper, Miso's going to lose his own Cyclone.
Yeah. That is true. I do have MMA confirmed going for Mech as the second factory is thrown down. Nothing yet from Miso, but they're both playing very... they're looking towards a long game, already on 3CC. MMA's on location, gives them a little bit of a lead there. Okay, it's going to be Mech versus Mech. Woo!
I'm actually just going to add MMA's name to the overlay since there seems to be some confusion about who Ice, whatever is. Oops, I just deleted what I had added. Good job, Rifkin. Yeah, apparently it's a brand of water, by the way, because I know we were wondering like what that acronym was.
Icus.
There we go. MMA. There we go. It should be very obvious who's playing now, and hopefully it's not a problem for you guys, because we're going to be casting here in the best of 3. I didn't bother doing this for the best of 1s earlier because we didn't know how much we would follow MMA today, but I think the nice thing about this particular legacy of the Olima League is we got to see a lot of different players. Normally we end up, just following Impact or somebody that we know will make it to the semifinals, but good spread of what everything looks like, what we can expect with Legacy of the Void.
Well, we saw absolutely no Protoss.
Well, that's kind of what you expect currently out of Legacy of the Void.
Yeah. Ryung did go 2-1, so at least she did, was showing some promise with Protoss, but did, lose. We have a very real possibility of something all TVT. Like, I don't know what race Reezy is, but
Yeah,
the
we'll
finals
know.
might very well be TVT too.
But here's the thing, right? Just touching on that Protoss point for a moment. I mean, keep an eye on the production tab, guys. It's pretty similar builds right now. I don't think Protoss are so bad that they're automatically out. Like, you're just totally screwed 100% by playing Protoss. But they are the weakest race by far. There's no question about that. And it's probably going to be like that for a little bit longer. I'm sure Blizzard's already gotten so much feedback from the players. There's Reddit threads, etc. And, of course, these tournament videos. And this is the whole point of beta, right? It's going to be in buff for a while. Races are going to suck. Some people are going to be OP. And there's going to be probably a week of it at a time, at least, if not longer. And this is all for the point of testing. And a lot of people forget, beta isn't just early access. Beta is testing. Make sure that the final product looks fantastic, it is balanced, and it comes out not looking too bad.
Sure. Yeah, we write to Blizzard all the time with, like, the feedback. They just...
Well, I do. You're being a bit sarcastic, but I talk to Cyan with complaints a lot.
Complaints about, like, balance and, like, design issues, or complaints like, the minimap sucks.
They're more like riff logic balance suggestions, and he
Then I don't think it counts. Why?
Why? There's no reason to kill. He's just trying to scrub the map clean.
Who puts all these scrubber bots on the map, by the way?
The Zelnaga wasn't. That should be obvious.
So they literally made like scrubber bots, and then they're like.
So what? You're
using
saying
every
they could
single
make
map?
the race of Terrans and Protoss and Zerg, but they don't have the complexity to build a little automaton dedicated to cleaning up their
Well,
map, this world they created? If I could create something that would automatically clean my computer for me every
Oh my
week,
God, shut
I would
up.
certainly do
Jesus. They created a bunch of biological life forms. It was Terran that made mechanical shit.
that. I'm pretty sure biological is harder than mechanical. I'm just saying.
To make?
Yeah. in terms of
Yes, and
difficulty.
Zelnaga made that. They didn't make any mechanical shit.
I'm just
That's
saying.
the point.
This is literally like a child's toy for the Zelnaga, right?
Parents made the automatons.
Alright, Cyclone's gonna catch some of the worst thing to argue about. Cyclone's gonna catch some of the Cyclones on the right side of the map. In fact, should be able to clean most, if not all of these up. We do actually have, though, Miso attacking through the middle. We have never cast somebody doing this yet. It's
middle
not exactly a
confused?
surprise attack, but it does mean you'll get across the map much faster.
I mean, this actually really changes the map a lot. I mean, for the most part, everything we've seen has been going around
Well-
the middle of the map, but being able to use the middle of the map, I mean, this high ground.
Exactly, the
is gonna
high
be-
ground is what I'm looking at most. Scans are going to go down, see a big Siege tank line. Neither player with medevacs just yet, but it's actually MMA who's making summon. Well, we haven't touched base on this yet because we still haven't seen it happen in the TVT we've been casting. This actually makes breaking the siege lines a lot easier. One of the things most siege tanks they just derp out with is if you attack from multiple angles, they just can't get that splash damage, they can't get that focus fire. It's really hard to use them properly, but if you've got all these siege tanks that you're dropping left and right and pushing forward with, you can break a siege line better than ever before.
I'm beginning that really good TVT game. Ooh.
Well, MMA is going to be a bit of a bouse. Lifts up a lot of the tanks. Of course, he does have to be careful. Medevacs are quite fragile when compared to the actual tank on the ground, so you got to be careful he doesn't lose these.
Well, we haven't really seen a response because we really haven't seen people use the tank drops yet. And, I mean, maybe they'll remember to lift it up when they're sieging up in the beginning of the game. But as far as late game goes, this is unique. Just to pick him up again, he has to just move around. As he notices Miso's moving around, he could drop 2 of those tanks and probably do some decent damage, like on the mineral line.
I would agree, but it's, I think, the consolidation effort of knowing that your opponent's coming at you with a fully fledged mech army. You can't dick around, right? Hellions instead of Hellbats is an interesting choice. Oh, okay, he's going to transform into Hellbats. Tanks are going to drop, though. Catches opponent's tanks unsieged, so some little damage going down, not too much risk. Cyclones go for
God.
lock-ons on the Hellbats, but the tanks, if he gets rid of the Hellbats, he gets dropped tanks on top of the tanks. Drop Hellbats on top of the tanks. But the Cyclones are there. Lag being called from MMA. And I guess that control really did not go in his favor. He's still got some tanks to work with, but he is going to have to lift off this third.
I guess they could still break it, but he is now like drastically far behind. I mean, that army's probably just dipped.
I have chat out of me, by the way. Apparently Zelnaga didn't create the Terran. Guys, I didn't really care. That wasn't the point of this stupid argument.
There was no point to this.
There was no point, exactly. But then we got the nitpicking, like, oh, actually, Rifkin. Now the
Wait,
tanks
who
are
created
being
this all?
lifted around. He's actually starting to break some of the tanks, but he's lost so much force. The Cyclone, how is that? How is that already? That's ridiculous. Cyclone's chipping away at the factory, making it really low. MMA still got 3 command centers over here. If he recovers from this, his economy will look okay, but his army supplies, it's still suffering.
He has a lot of minerals and gas in the bank as well, so I guess his production being compromised really affecting him here.
Yeah, it's hurting. He's still feeling the sting of it. Lots of tanks still up, though. He's going to need to siege them pretty quick, because Hellbats and tanks are just on the outside of his base. We got another command. Wow, he has 4 extra command centers? Are you serious? MMA, what were you doing with your money this game? Build 3 more factories!
I mean, Miso did the same thing. He got like a couple more command centers, so
True
it wasn't,
enough. True enough.
it wasn't too bad. They both were very prepared to just go into a very long macro game, and then Miso just somehow got that perfect positioning, and apparently MMA's lag affected him. There. But MMA needs to do something on the return to make up for this huge gap in supply. You know, it's not just about getting these expansions down, although that's helpful. It's about actually returning the damage, taking a really good fight, or picking up a couple of these tanks, a couple of Hellbats, and starting taking out the SCVs.
I like that he pulls some SCVs to repair, too. Very important in my books. He flips one of the orbitals over, so gonna get that economy back on track. Oh, he's going really far with this, but this is not really enough a Hellion here, so don't make this into anything dedicated, MMA. You will lose it.
Yeah. It was nice for Miso to make sure to check for all these bases. That was a good idea.
I actually like that MMA scanned the goal, too. Wants to really make sure Miso didn't take anything too abusive to get crazy far ahead. Hellion can reveal that he does know about the base, though, so that probably could have been held back. I mean, there's 2 Vikings that'll eventually kill the command center, but 2 Vikings do not exactly kill it fast. And if he chases too hard, MMA may be able to take advantage of that. But he's on for pick up with some Hellions. Going to start running around the map. Both players are playing mech, so mech versus mech being the key thing here. You can't really... I mean, I don't know that I can say this for certain, but I would assume that that air transition is no longer as comfortable either in mech versus mech, because Cyclones, right? Lock on the Vikings, lock on the battlecruisers.
Really gonna change things up, and of course I was gonna go with like the economy. Just never will see like a big bank again. Definitely not for MMA. Maybe Miso will start banking up as he is maxed, but the Cyclones definitely will change a lot. I guess another thing we didn't really notice is that Miso went for double armory upgrades. That's been a big deal. He had 2-2 during that attack as well, and will now have 3-3 over just 3. MMA went for the Cyclone upgrade really quickly, and it just was not worth it.
Well, I like the missile turrets coming down, but it's not the area he really has to worry about. It's, once again, MMA has got to get just units. Just units. He's down in like half the army supply.
And he's still not spending his money. I mean, it's awfully odd.
He's got to move the factory to the tech lab. There's just a lot of mismatched stuff going on in his main right now. So, Miso coming in with a bit of a push, and I call it a bit of a push sarcastically because this is a huge push that very well might just end the game. Yep, GG. All right, game 1 goes to Miso. But it's going to be MMA's map pick. Maybe the map wasn't in his favor. Maybe he'd much rather play Echo or Code.